changes. What is it that we expect when people talk to us? I mean, if I got a real problem, and I go out and I say, I got this problem. When people come to us to talk, you know what we expect? Information. We just don't expect a whole lot. I just expect, okay, go ahead. Give me what you got. Because I want the information. It'll probably be helpful, maybe, I don't know. When people speak, information is shared. That's what we get. We get information. Now, in Jesus' day, in this place in Capernaum, when Jesus was talking, what's important to know about this is that there are all kinds of teachers. There are these teachers called scribes, or Torah teachers, and the Torah teachers were important because they were the teachers of their world. They taught the Word of God. They took out the scroll and they taught what it said. But you know what they had to teach? They had to teach what they were taught. They weren't allowed to teach new teachings, new interpretations. They weren't allowed to do that. See, that was the job early in the history of God's people. When God gave them the Ten Commandments and the law and all that, he said, for instance, keep the Sabbath holy. Oh, that's good information, Lord. But how? See, that was the job of the priests. That was the job of the teachers to say, and this is how we do that. Now, early on, that was new teaching. But Torah teachers didn't have something that we're going to talk about in just a second. They weren't allowed to teach new teachings. They weren't allowed to make judgments. They were kind of like our teachers in school or like in college. You have to kind of stick to the text. Now, if your teacher comes in, let's just give you an example. If your teacher comes in and you're in a science class and your teacher says, this here says that you and I came from an amoeba that turned into a fish, that turned into a walking fish, that turned into a talking fish, right? And then let's just say that teacher comes along and goes, but I've been studying science, and I've come to understand that there's more than just this, that there's actually another way to think about this. That teacher would get fired. We have to teach what we're told to teach. I mean, that's what you do. You stick to the text. Torah teachers had to stick to the text. The scribes had to stick to the text. So when they see Jesus talking, and he's teaching new things like, let me tell you something. You've heard it said to love those who love you and curse those who curse you. But I'm saying, bless those who curse you. What? Did he just say something new? Yeah. Where does he get a right to say that? Okay, that's what's happening when Jesus talks. He's teaching new teachings, new ways to understand the Scriptures. What they discovered in that day in Capernaum was that when the Torah teachers speak, information is shared. When Jesus speaks, power happens. People get healed. We actually get tools that we can use. They start to discover, wait a minute, you know what? This whole cursing my enemies thing has not been working out. We're still exiled in Rome. We're still suffering under the heavy weight and burdens of the Romans who control us. And we hate their guts. And it's not helping. Jesus says, love your enemies. You want change? Love your enemies. Huh. It's a new teaching. See, when the Torah teachers teach, information shared. When Jesus teaches, power happens. There's still a lot of talkers who teach us what they've been taught, and they're important. Teachers are important. We need teachers. We need Bible teachers. We need school teachers. Teachers are important. And most of our teachers just tell us what they've been taught like they're supposed to, like we paid them to. How are Jesus' words different from all the other speakers? What are we learning here? Well, Jesus had something. Go to the next screen. Jesus had Hod. Hod is a word that's translated into a Greek word and then into our English word, but it means authority. It means something like power, something like authority that is a matter of splendor and something amazing, that when you talk, you have a right to talk. When you teach something new, it's like people just, yeah, that's right. How many people do you know that, you know people who come to you and say, I've heard that my whole life, but you know what I really think? And you want to say to them, I really don't care what you think. See, but if you have Hod, you're a person that go, wait, let me get something to write with. What do you think? Right? That's a person with Hod. Okay, Jesus had this, and they're thinking to themselves, how did he get this? Because, see, in order to have Hod, go to the next screen, you have to have Shmika. Shmika was what happened when those who were given the gift from God to have the authority to say, here is how you keep the Sabbath holy. They've been blessed by God to say, and you have the authority to tell them how to do it. Can they all do that? No. Priests. Right? Once I've chosen to teach my word, you have the authority to say, this is how you honor your parents. If anybody else says this is how you honor their parents, they're a false prophet. I'm giving you, I'm sneaking you. Sneaka came from this idea of open hands. And what they would do is they would place their hands on a bull's head with all their weight, put their power on it before they sacrificed it. Right? And so then this idea was shared to people. And then if we go to Numbers, I'm going to read this from Numbers 27. Here's an example of how it happens. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. And Numbers 27. Let me just tell you what this says real quick. Number 27 and 18 through 23. This pink Bible is all messed up. Just kidding. All right, number 27. I went to Deuteronomy, I'm sorry. And then verses 18 through 23, and it says, so the Lord said to Moses, take Joshua, son of Nun, a man of whom is the Spirit, and lay your hand on him. This word is Shmika. Sabak, actually, is the way it's written. But this is where they get the word Shmika. And it says, have him stand before Eleazar the priest and the entire assembly and commission him in their presence. Give him some of your Hod. Give him some of your authority. So the whole Israelite community will obey him. So you had to have this Hod for people to do what you say. That's why when Jesus says to this evil spirit group, get out of him, they obey him. Because he has Hod, which comes from God. It's an ordination issue. It's not something that you learn. It's something you're given. Okay? Let me just finish this passage. Give him some of your authority, some of your Hod, so the whole Israelite community will obey him. He is to stand before Eleazar the priest, who will obtain decisions for him by inquiring of the Urim before the Lord. At his command, he and the entire community, listen to this, at his command, when he speaks, things will happen. Power will happen. Okay? When he speaks, at his command, he and the entire community of the Israelites will go out. See, things happen. They will go out, and at his command, they will come in. Okay, this is this whole idea of when Jesus speaks, power happens. We're not just learning something. Things are happening when he talks. It's easy to recognize in our world when somebody has authority, right? We can tell. I mean, if you go into a store, right, you're looking for somebody to make something happen for you, do you go to the guy with the broom? Right? If you want something to really happen, I got a problem here, I need something to happen. Do you go to the guy that's up on the ladder fixing the light bulb? But we know who has authority.